Hey, it's Finance Friday, where I talk about my journey to the 3M's mortgage-wise. Right, I need a job. I've applied for two. One has got back to me. I have submitted, should I say, to their request of how I apply. So now it's about taking that journey to that employer and hoping they accept me as I am. I don't have any clothes for job interviews. Where I am getting shelter from a women's refuge via the Refuge charity, there might be a charity that might be able to help me with clothes, because until I collect my belongings from my residential address at the time of reporting the crime, yes, I'm just I haven't been able to save. I still have been able to make token payments. I failed with some payment plans. I believe I failed with the payment plans because I have a service charge to pay. The money for that creditor should go to the creditor and not to the service charge. So my dilemma is, when I speak to my support worker on Monday at our weekly meetings, I'm just going to have to say, look, the service charge, I can't afford it, and pay off my creditors. I don't want bailiffs knocking on my mum's door for my debts, and I want to pay them off. That was the plan, but obviously calling the police put a roadblock in my journey, because I need to get a job to save money, I need a job to pay off my debts, and I need a job to take care of myself, my responsibilities, provide shelter over my head, and I choose a mortgage. I choose London. I choose London. I was born in London. I choose to start the journey in London because of the shock that I've suffered that has caused me trauma. I did think apply for asylum within the EU to get my human rights. I did think stay up all night in front of CCTV in front of my belongings to get what I'm entitled to from Enfield Council. And I did start to look at, well, there's 32 boroughs, and the women's charity Refuge National Domestic Abuse Line call handler told me that I am entitled to emergency accommodation as part 7 of the Homeless Act 1996, I believe. But that's not what my local authority council, where my residential address is at the time of reporting the crime, said to me. So I have to find this out, right? I am not an ex-prisoner, I am not ex-army, I am not mentally ill, I am not in care, I am not a pensioner. And I'm not physically disabled. That's what I believe about myself. That is what I told them. I'm a victim of domestic abuse and domestic violence. So I just cannot rest easy and focus and take action in the right direction without knowing, with all that evidence I have, are you telling me that I have to sit in a women's refuge? Because then it makes me feel like in this women's refuge, I now have to decide, is this the right place for me to start socializing again, building a social network? Is it the right place for me to have a baby and be a mum? I think anywhere in London is the right place to start employment. But when it comes to saving money and doing what I have to do, which is what I'm talking about on Finance Friday, saving money, paying off my debts, repaying my credit, is that area the right place for me to buy a house? I'm trying to stay focused here while I'm talking to you guys about this, because so much is going through in my head. So much trauma, so much shock. Right. So is that area in London where I am several boroughs away from the residential address. Is that area right for me to buy a house? Is that area right for me to become a mum and raise a child? Is that area the right place for me to start socialising and possibly meet the father of that child? I do not want to be in a house with a drug user or a drug dealer or a domestically abusive or violent man. So is that the right area during a global pandemic lockdown to start looking for a bloke? I don't mean to be up my own arse or judgmental, but that is what's going on in my head. That is what it is. That is just making me almost get to the point of a panic attack. Is the area where the refuge is the right place for me to restart my life with this police matter? Because if I didn't call the police and end up unsafe, I wouldn't have said, yes, I'm going to live there in that area within London. I wouldn't have said that. So it's just making me feel like my choices are being controlled. And I've just fled a controlling household. I have no problems obeying authority. I don't know if that is the right area for me to start my life. And I don't know if the support worker understands my journey to marriage, motherhood and mortgage. That is my priority, getting my quality of life back after shock, which has caused me trauma. Is my support worker the right person to be doing that? I don't know. I don't want to sound ungrateful. I may be sounding ungrateful to people who have been through worse or are going through worse, but this is the journey. This is what I think and this is what I feel. I'm not gonna not tell you how I think and feel at this, regardless of who's pulling strings on my life or who's making the decisions. So I've got to venture out to that employer, possibly in these clothes, these warm clothes that I have. Unless I can get through to the police. So yeah, there's a little bit of a insecurity, not having the right clothes for a job interview so that I can make money and take care of my responsibilities. Wow. So I gotta try and reach out to that charity. So I guess I have to reach out to that charity who donates clothes to women in my circumstances before applying for that job so that I can make money and take care of my responsibilities. And I tell you this, regardless of what the rent is, I'm going to do that job if they accept me as an employee. Okay. Bye bye.